The House That Dreams of You. Before we start, if you enjoy stories that get under your skin, the kind that stick with you long after the lights are out, think about subscribing and turning on notifications. We deal in the quiet corners of horror here. Now, listen closely. They say a new home is a fresh start, a blank page. But the second I stepped over the threshold of Blackwood Manor, I felt like I was stepping back into a life I'd never lived. I inherited it from a great uncle I can't even remember. His lawyer just handed me a heavy iron key and a box of old photos, with a look that was half pity, half warning. And that's where the story really begins. With that box, sitting on the dusty floor of the foyer, unpacking photos of strangers who were supposedly my family. A woman with a stern face, a man with tired eyes, a little girl with a ribbon in her hair. I didn't know any of them, and yet, the house seemed to remember me, even if I didn't remember it. It doesn't just creak, it breathes, and I'd soon learn that it dreams of me, and it was going to make me remember. Section 1. The Honeymoon and Inciting Incident. The first few days were a blur of just wandering. The size of the place was ridiculous. Endless, echoing hallways, rooms covered in white sheets like sleeping giants, and this deep, unnerving silence. I told myself the unease was just the weight of inheriting a dead man's life. That weird sense of familiarity was just déjà vu, a trick of a tired mind. I tried to make it mine. I picked a bedroom that looked out over the overgrown gardens, unpacked my couple of boxes, and tried to carve out a little piece of normal in this huge, empty building. That first night, the house settled. At least that's what I told myself. The groans of old wood, the sigh of wind through a cracked window pane. But then I heard the whisper. It was faint, like it was carried on the draft from under my door. A single word, a name, Leo, my name. I shot straight up in bed, my heart pounding. It was nothing. It had to be nothing. Old pipes, the wind, anything. I laid back down, pulled the blankets up to my chin, and blamed it on an overactive imagination. But the doubt was there now. The house had said my name. A few days later, I found a journal in the library, tucked away and bound in cracked black leather. My name was on the cover. But the handwriting inside wasn't mine. It was a frantic, sloping scrawl with entries that made no sense. It showed me the garden today, one said. The roses were blue. She loved blue. I had no memory of writing it, no memory of a she. I slammed the book shut, a cold dread creeping up my spine. Was I losing my mind? The house wasn't just old, it felt aware, and it was using my own hand to talk to me. Section 2. Escalation. The whispers started happening every night. They weren't threatening, not at first. They were just fragments, echoes of a life I couldn't place. A woman humming a gentle tune I almost recognized. A child's laughter, so distant it was barely there. Sometimes I'd hear a line from a nursery rhyme I'd never heard before, but my lips would silently form the next verse anyway. The house was feeding me a past that wasn't mine, and a part of my brain was just accepting it. Then, the house itself started to change. It was small things, subtle things, designed to make me question my own sanity. A hallway that I swear was a dead end yesterday now stretched into darkness. A door that led to a linen closet now opened to a solid brick wall. I started taking pictures with my phone to prove I wasn't crazy, but the new photos always matched the house's new layout, making my old ones look like fakes. I was being actively gaslit by wood and plaster. I tried calling my brother to explain what was happening, I could hear the strained patience in his voice. "Leo, you're just stressed. It's a big house, you're dealing with a death. Maybe you should come back to the city for a weekend." His dismissal felt worse than any ghost. It was the first time I felt truly alone in this. I was the only one seeing it, and the outside world just thought I was going crazy. The fight wasn't just me against the house anymore. It was me against my own mind. The breaking point came one night in the master bathroom. I was just staring into the big, ornate mirror. The face looking back at me was tired and pale. Then, for a split second, it changed. It was still me, but I was a kid, maybe 10 years old. My reflection's eyes were wide with pure terror, its mouth open in a silent scream. And behind my shoulder in the reflection, just for an instant, was the little girl from the photograph, her hand on my arm. Then, just like that, it was gone. I was alone again, staring at my own horrified face. The mirror wasn't just showing me my reflection, it was showing me a memory of absolute terror that I didn't even have. Section 3, the turning point. That was it. I had to get out. I threw some clothes in a bag, grabbed my keys, and just ran. I didn't even look back. I jumped in my car and tore down the long, winding driveway. I drove for what felt like an hour, the dark woods of the estate blurring past. But something was wrong. The crooked oak tree, the collapsed stone wall. I kept passing the same landmarks. After another 20 minutes of frantic driving, my headlights landed on the rusted iron gates of Blackwood Manor. I'd driven in a perfect circle. I tried again and again. No matter which way I turned, which fork I took, the road always looped back. Finally, right as I rolled to a stop in front of the gates again, the engine sputtered and died as if on cue. The silence was absolute. The house had me. It wasn't just a house. It was a prison, and the woods were its walls. I leaned my head against the steering wheel, completely defeated. And then a strange calm washed over me. I'd been fighting it. I'd been running from the whispers and the shifting rooms. But what if that was wrong? It hit me then. This place wasn't trying to hurt me. It was trying to tell me something. Maybe the horror wasn't the haunting itself, but what the house was trying to make me remember. I stopped being a victim and became an investigator of my own forgotten life. I got out of the car, left the keys in the ignition, and walked back up to the house, not with fear, but with purpose. Section 4, Confrontation and Revelation. I let the house guide me. I followed the whispers, which were clearer now, more insistent. They led me down a hall I'd never seen before, one that had been hidden behind an old tapestry. At the end was that brick wall where a door used to be. The whispers were coming from the other side, a child's voice crying softly. I found a sledgehammer in the old carriage house. Breaking through the wall was brutal work. Dust and mortar filled the air, but with every brick I knocked loose, the crying got louder. When I finally broke through, a wave of cold, stale air hit me. I pointed my phone's light into the darkness. It was a child's bedroom, perfectly preserved but covered in a thick blanket of dust. A small bed, a rocking horse, a little wooden desk. On the wall were crayon drawings, a smiling sun, a lopsided house, and a picture of two children holding hands. A boy with brown hair and a little girl with a ribbon in hers. Underneath, it said, Leo plus Lily. The moment I stepped into the room, the house played the final memory. It wasn't a whisper or a quick flash. It was everything. The dust disappeared. The air grew warm. Sunlight poured through a window that was no longer boarded up. I was a child again, standing in this exact room. And Lily, the little girl from the photos, was there. My sister. A sister I never knew I had. We were playing hide and seek. I remember her laughter as she ran up the grand staircase. I remember chasing her. I remember her hiding behind a huge vase on the landing. I remember jumping out to scare her. I remember the vase wobbling. I remember the awful, shattering crash. I remember her fall. I remember the silence. The trauma was so total, my kid's mind couldn't handle it. So it just erased it. It erased her. It erased this house. It erased the first 10 years of my life. My parents, who I guess couldn't stand to live with the memory, sent me away to live with our aunt and uncle, the people I thought were my real parents. They built a new past for me, and my broken mind believed it. The house wasn't evil. It was just an archive for the trauma I had buried so deep it stopped existing. It was trying to make me whole again. Conclusion. When the vision faded, I was on my knees in the dark, dusty room. The house was silent. For the first time since I got here, it was completely, totally still. The whispers were gone. The hallways were stable. The breathing had stopped. It had given back what it was keeping safe for me. I'm still here. I never fixed the car. This is my home now. It isn't a place of fear anymore, but it's not a place of comfort either. It's a tomb. The man I was a month ago, the one with the simple life, he's gone. He was a ghost long before I ever came here. My identity, everything I thought I was, is shattered. I have my memories back, but I don't feel healed. I feel haunted. Not by the house, but by the truth. Haunted by the little girl with the ribbon in her hair. Haunted by the boy who caused a tragedy and then forgot. The house doesn't dream of me anymore. It has nothing left to show me. Now I'm the one who dreams, and I dream of the house. The worst horrors are the ones we carry inside us. What do you think is scarier? A house haunted by ghosts, or one haunted by memories? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you're still with me, maybe you'll come back for the next story. Thanks for listening.